Tor, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. David, how you doing? Good to see you as well. JP, good to see you, brother. How you doing? How you been? Funky brother, good to see you as well. Evening, my brother Miles and the CMF family, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? How's everyone doing today? Scott, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Scott. Scott, I got to reply back to your direct messages. I haven't forgotten. Just been very busy, but I will respond to your direct messages, Scott. Apologies about the lateness. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Stormy? Funky brother, good to see you as well. How you been? Troy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Connie, good to see you as well. Evening, how you doing? Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good to see you as well. How's your day? How's your parents? How's your business? Business is good, busy. Parents are doing well. Thanks so much for asking, Scott. And how's your family doing, Scott? How's things? George, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Manny, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Vibe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Tell us something good. Well, we're going to go through a mixture of news on tonight's live show. Great, just heading home. Busy day. How was your day? Also a bit busy and long, let's just say. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? David, how you doing? So, we're going to go through a gist of what we're going to be talking about on tonight's live show, and then we do the intro, disclaimer, and by that time, everyone's pretty much tuned in for the first news of the live. Now, on tonight's live show, we are going to be going through Binance news. We're going to go through a hack that happened, not on Binance, but the hack in terms of the transfer was happening on Binance. We're going to go through that news, and also why AVAX dropped quite a bit today, ridiculously. We're also going to be talking about Croatia on tonight's live show as well, regarding a crypto exchange. We're going to be talking about the Ethereum situation with the lawsuit in the SEC, how it got dropped, and how it might not be over, apparently, according to consensus. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding scammers. Essentially, scammers right now are using Ton Network to create fake stable coins and essentially push it through exchanges. We're going to also be talking about tonight's live show regarding BitPro. They're teaming up with a local bank to create bank accounts for Taiwan citizens, a cryptocurrency bank account. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding the stablecoin USDT and Latin America. We're going to talk about the stablecoin USDT, XRP, and Bitcoin in Latin America. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding AI and how the AI industry is driving the financial industry in profits to essentially $2 trillion. We're also going to be going through on tonight's live show regarding, is this the end of stablecoins? Is the news that's coming out today regarding the EU? A lot of things are happening in the EU. I'm going to go through each exchange and what they're doing in terms of stablecoins when it comes to the EU, or in terms of the MiCA regulations. We're also going to talk about the Swiss Central Bank today as well. The Swiss Central Bank undertakes the world's first tokenized monetary policy operation. We're going to go through every pretty much stage in a very gist kind of manner of what the Swiss bank is going to be doing in terms of fully going CBDCs, in terms of tokenizations and so on, tokenization of CBDCs. So we're going to be talking about the Swiss bank on tonight's live show. We're going to be talking about the Croatian bank on tonight's live show, the Taiwan banks on tonight's live show. We're going to be going through Bitcoin, XRP, and USDT in comparison to Latin American markets. We're going to be talking about the MiCA regulations. We're going to talk about some news that you should know and some scamming news that's going around, and some Binance news that's going around as well, and some Ethereum news that's going around on tonight's live show as well. So, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, on this live show, I talk to you. I essentially share the news on recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, politics, everything that you should know going into this. Essentially the world changing into a digital era. Vital information you should know in terms of news or basic knowledge that you should know about. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So if you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF live show. And if you're regular, let's go CMF. And we also do Q&As as well on this live show as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. We are live on YouTube and X at the exact same time as always. If you have a question, put it down inside the comment section. I essentially read everybody's questions one by one and give an answer out. Now, before we go to the first news, which is regarding Binance, AVAX, and a hacking situation that's going around. Let's go inside the comment section first. Family is good. Thanks for asking. Let's go, Scott. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Coin, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Freedom forever. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Freedom forever. Ian, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Perfect timing, Ian, because we're about to go for the first part of tonight's live show, which is Binance news. It's Binance and hacking news to go through, essentially. By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting the live show right at the beginning of the live show. I'm getting notifications on retweets. Thank you so much for everyone that's retweeting. Now, Binance assists BTC Turk aimed cyber attack and a 54 million AVAX breach. So apparently a Turkish essentially crypto exchange was compromised and the transfer of the funds, some of them tried to go through Binance. So the ones that went through Binance, they were frozen. But the other exchanges, not so much. And that's why AVAX dropped today. So BTC Turk, one of Turkey's leading cryptocurrency exchanges, experienced a cyber attack. The breach resulted to unauthorized access to hot wallets containing balances of 10 different cryptocurrencies, different types. In response, BTC Turk has halted all cryptocurrency deposits, withdrawals, in terms of trying to control and not let it spread too much. BTC Turk, one of Turkey's largest cryptocurrency exchanges, said it was attacked and the cryptocurrency deposit withdrawals have been stopped. Officials said that some balances in the hot wallets of 10 cryptocurrencies were affected and the cold wallets are now on hold. The cyber attack details. The cyber attack on BTC Turk led to unauthorized access to some of its hot wallets, impacting balances across multiple cryptocurrencies. The exchange's cold wallets, which hold the majority of its assets, remain secure and unaffected by the breach. BTC Turk assured that users that its financial stability exceeds the amounts impacted, ensuring that users' assets are protected from losses. BTC Turk has launched a thorough investigation into the incident, collaborating with relative authorities to uncover the essentially perpetrators. Binance is assisting BTC Turk with its investigation and has frozen over $5.3 million in stolen funds. The scammers tried to move around $5.3 million through Binance. Binance's head of regional markets, Richard Tang, stated that their security teams are working around the clock to protect the ecosystem from bad actors and will provide further updates as investigations progress. Binance is assisting BTC Turk with the investigations and have frozen $5.3 million of stolen funds so far. Our investigations and security teams work around the clock and we will try to help or find the perpetrators. Now, the impact on AVAX, because AVAX dropped quite a bit. So on the same day, essentially, the attack happened, approximately $54 million worth of AVAX was sold. The AVAX originated from a transfer of a random wallet on the Avalanche X chain and is believed to be linked to the Turkish exchange. The exact connection between this transaction and BTC Turk breach is still under investigation. So it comes down to the conclusion of, was BTC Turk actually compromised or was this an inside job from this Turkish exchange? The incident comes aimed a period of rising cryptocurrency adoptions in Turkey, driving and essentially by soaring the inflation and depreciation of the Turkish lira. In response to the economic challenges, Turkish lawmakers are working to replenish national finances through measures such as overhauling the tax system. A proposed 0.03% tax on crypto transactions is expected to generate approximately 3.7 billion liras in annual revenue. Retail banking support for crypto as well. Despite regulatory changes, retail banking institutions in Turkey are increasingly supporting digital asset transactions. Guarantee BBVA Digital Assets, and subsidiary of Guarantee BBVA Financial Technologies, recently launched a crypto wallet service on its mobile platform. The service, currently in beta, allows users to trade BTC, Ethereum, and USD coin. So, a Turkish exchange was compromised. Now, the ironic part about this is when the Turkish exchange was compromised on the exact same day, even though the Turkish exchange claims that they have no damages whatsoever, but the hackers had essentially compromised 10 of their hot wallets. Now, who knows how much they actually did steal? But on the exact same day the attack happened, $54 million worth of AVAX was sold by the exchange itself from around the wallet that came out of the exchange. So this could either be an inside job from this Turkish exchange or it was genuinely compromised. But that is the reason, if you're wondering today, why the market was just a little bit down, but also why AVAX ridiculously just dropped. Now, The next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding Croatia. Croatia's Electro Coin launches a new crypto exchange, Electro Trade, for EU markets. Now, there's a crypto exchange that was based out of Croatia that was only for Croatian citizens. But under the authority of Croatia, it has grown in terms of the retail section, and now it's going to be essentially expanding into the EU markets. Now, for this exchange to expand into the EU markets is actually easier than foreign exchanges because they're already based in the EU, so therefore they have some sort of licensing to be able to operate in Croatia and then to expand into EU. This is good for the adoption rate as well regarding what's happening in Croatia. But before we go through that, let's go to the comment section first regarding Croatia and the crypto exchange in the EU markets. Now, we were here, I think. Hi there, brother. I'm all good. Thanks, brother. Let's go, Ian. Scott, hello, CMF. I love my family. Let's go. Even Miles is CMF. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Perfect timing. About to go for the second news on tonight's live show. So, Croatia. Croatia's Electro Coin launches a new crypto exchange, Electro Coin Trade, for EU markets. Electro Coin, a top crypto exchange in Croatia, has launched a new cryptocurrency exchange platform, Electro Coin Trade. The new platform is meant to cater to users in the EU markets and where they can enjoy lower transaction costs. While the crypto exchange has launched a new platform, EU clients can still access the old platform. The new exchange platform supports cross-chain transfers and coin-to-coin swaps via different protocols, ERC20, BEP20, Polygon, and more. Electrocoin provides an area of services of new essentially platforms as well. The Electrocoin Trade Exchange provides cryptocurrency exchanges and trading services which can be done without prior to registration. It also provides similar services but for registered users as well. By registering on the new exchange platform, users can entrust their crypto assets for safekeepings on regulated platforms. Now, I understand that this exchange is coming out of Croatia, and they've already established themselves in Croatia. They're expanding into the EU markets, which is easier for them to do because they're already based in the EU. But for them to be stating, their exchange is safe for anybody to keep their assets on, in general, never keep. For my own preference, not financial advice, but for my own preference, I would never keep any sort of cryptocurrencies on exchanges. If I'm trading, then I'm keeping some stable coins on exchanges. But for my long terms, they're never going to be on exchanges. So, I understand this exchange wants to come off as safe, but the previous news I just read out was an exchange that got hacked. Now, apart from that, users get access to the exchange that got essentially compromised in Turkey. Now, apart from that, users get access to additional tradings while they experience their benefits like cryptocurrency portfolios, monitoring, and reduced fees. Following recent regulatory developments in the country, the crypto exchange firm opted to introduce a new custodian model to their servers. This allows them to act as a custodian for crypto assets, which clients choose to hold their Electrocoin trade accounts. While the launch of the new platform, the company has also introduced more services like the bill payments using cryptocurrencies. Users within the EU can settle their utility bills like electricity, water, internet, and other personal expenses using cryptocurrencies. That is a new feature that no exchange has done so far. Binance Exchange, you can book vacations. Some people don't know this, some people do know this. But if you use Binance Exchange, Binance actually gives you some services in terms of you can book your vacations with Binance. You can book essentially even rentals, car rentals, if I'm not mistaken, through the vacations. And you can also essentially get eSIMs through Binance. So they offer quite a lot of services in exchange with cryptocurrencies. But this one is new. And again, this isn't Binance, but Binance offers those types of services. But this one in Croatia, that's going to be expanded to the EU markets, is definitely going to grow the adoption rates because this exchange will let you, using cryptocurrencies, pay your utility bills like electrics, water, internet, and other personal expenses using cryptocurrencies through this crypto exchange that's launching out of Croatia for EU markets. The Electrocoin gives users options. Despite launching a new platform, Electrocoin will still maintain its old services that was mainly for Croatia. The company has indicated that EU adult citizens are eligible to buy, sell, or trade cryptocurrencies for up to €1,000 without any verification or prior registrations on the platform. So if you want to test out the waters on this platform and you do live in the EU, you can have access to Electrocoin, essentially their exchange, and you don't need to register with them if you're trading under €1,000. Anything above €1,000, you would have to register for legal reasons. By doing so, Electrocoin reportedly wanted to ensure old and new users had an option to essentially access crypto even without registering on the platform. Launched in 2014, Electrocoin has become one of the top crypto exchanges in Croatia and introduced Paycheck, a crypto payment processor, in 2018. Electrocoin has been in the game for a very long time. Since 2014, they've been operating only for Croatian citizens. But now they're expanding in the EU. That's going to help the adoption rate for more people to jump onto the crypto space. And I once shared a study report on this live show that people are flocking, no matter what the age group is. So the younger generation, or the middle-aged generation, or even the older generation. There was a study test that was done that they're flocking towards crypto assets instead of real estate, preferably. And that was a study test that came out of Australia, if I'm not mistaken. But that's mostly the case around the world right now. Even in Latin American countries, people are going towards crypto assets as a safe haven or in terms of trying to reach financial gains rather than going for real estate. So something like this, and it makes life easier on paying your electric bills, gas bills, internet bills, water bills, and so on, using just cryptocurrencies on a regular daily basis, gets the adoption rate higher, which is good. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is the fight isn't over, apparently. So, this news has came out, right? Basically, the fight isn't over despite SEC closing Ethereum 2.0 probe, says the executives from Consensus. Now, everybody's heard the news that essentially, the SEC dropped all charges against Consensus and, called it a day. However, according to Consensus, the fight isn't over. The long-standing legal battle between the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and Consensus, the firm behind MetaMask wallet, appears to have finally come to an end. For nearly 14 months, the SEC had been investigating Ethereum 2.0 and Consensus. For context, Ethereum 2.0 refers to the post-merge era, the network transition from proof of work to proof of stake. However, according to Consensus, the battle is far from over. So this isn't people's perspective. This is Consensus' own perspective, that the battle might not still be over for Ethereum. Impact of SEC ending the investigation into Ethereum 2.0. This development has sent ripples, nice use of word there, ripples through the entire crypto community. Raising the crucial question, what impact will this have on the broader, essentially, industry? Commenting on the issue, Laura Brookover, head of litigations and investigations on essentially at Consensus, told CNBC, this is an interview that she did. Well, we are pleased to receive the letter noting that the investigation into Ethereum 2.0 has been concluded and that it was concluded without any charges against Consensus, she added. It's the right result. It's the right result that should have happened a year ago. But of course, the fight isn't over, she said to CNBC. Brookover also emphasized that the Ethereum investigation is just one of the 3 separate probes that Consensus is currently challenging in its lawsuit in Texas. She pointed out that these investigations are a significant part of the legal action they have undertaken to protect their operations and the broader Ethereum ecosystem. The story so far. This all started way back in 2018 when the SEC allowed the Ether was a security. However, 2023, the SEC quietly changed its position, asserting authority over Ether as a security and launching an investigation into the Ethereum. This prompted Consensus to file a lawsuit against the SEC on April 25th, 2024, with an aim to protect Ethereum's ecosystem. The plaintiffs sought a court order to halt the investigation, arguing that Ether is a commodity and thus outside the SEC's jurisdiction. This legal action sparked significant concerns from policymakers, including members of Congress and general public, about the SEC's investigation into Ethereum 2.0. In fact, on the 7th of June, Consensus sent a letter to the SEC asking for confirmation that May's ETH ETF approvals, which classified Ether as a commodity, would end the Ethereum 2.0 investigation. Responding to the same, the SEC on 18th of June letter claimed, we do not intend to recommend an enforcement action by the Commission against your clients, Consensus Software Inc., with respect to this investigation. The fight isn't over. And this is all the information that was told on CNBC from Consensus themselves. So they wanted to say the fight isn't over yet on CNBC. Despite the SEC's decision to close the investigation on Ethereum, however, the letter lacks essentially the letter lacks the transparency the industry needs, the crypto industry. It fails to explain why the SEC closed the investigation on Ethereum and how this decision impacts other ongoing investigations and enforcement actions. This leaves many questions unanswered and essentially underscores the need for clearer regulatory guidelines in the rapidly evolving cryptocurrency landscape. Expanding on the same, and Brookhaven concluded by saying, until we get defended of answers and a judicial ruling that we have not isolated a security lawsuit, we're gonna keep fighting. So a lot of people said, essentially a lot of people thought that the SEC may be dropping the essentially Ethereum 2.0 situation, is the SEC completely letting go. Apparently, according to consensus, it's not. Even though the SEC has dropped the cases against Ethereum, essentially consensus, apparently consensus is still ready just in case, because they feel like the SEC might come back and try to fight them in court once again. Now, and they're essentially confused on why it was dropped in the first place, or why it was even taken up in the first place. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding scammers, crypto scammers. Now, I've said this previously, and I'll say it again. The more we go into a digital world, the more scammers become advanced and so on. Now, the scammers are becoming quite intelligent inside the crypto space, where they're minting essentially USDT on Ton chain and moving that USDT on exchanges. And the exchange thinks that that is a real USDT coming from the Ton chain. And they're able to use that fake USDT essentially to purchase other coins and move those assets around. So before, scammers were essentially going after people individually in terms of using bots, but now scammers are printing fake stable coins on Ton chain. Now, it's not just Ton chain they're doing this on, but the new trend for scammers is Ton chain, using Ton chain to create fake, essentially stablecoins. And how they're getting away with it is because USDT essentially very recently announced they're going to be going on Ton chain as well. So scammers took advantage of this, knowing this information, to create fake USDT on Ton chain, which makes the exchanges think it's the real USDT. Now, scammers target the crypto exchanges with fake stablecoins on Ton chain. Blockchain security analysts are arguing that crypto exchanges to scrutinize deposits closely as malicious actors escalate efforts to flood them with fake tokens on Ton network. Now, do you know what's funny about this whole story? Is that the idea of fake money was, something that happens in traditional finance. The idea of, somebody using fake cash, it's been well done all around the world pretty much. We've all seen fake cash and so on. But the idea of fake cash on crypto, that's an interesting one. Bad actors appear to be intensifying attempts to exploit crypto exchange deposit systems. Scammers are exploiting fake USDT transactions on the open network Ton. As essentially Tether expands its stablecoin support on the network, data from the blockchain security group Dilton Effect shows that malicious actors are spamming crypto exchanges with fake USDT transactions in large quantities. They're flooding the crypto exchanges with large amounts of fake USDT, and the exchange thinks it's real USDT. So we have fake USDT essentially being fluctuated in crypto exchanges. Now, you might think, well, this must be some random small exchanges they're doing this to. No, it's the big exchanges they're doing this to. So, according to the on-chain activity, at least one bad actor has been targeting multiple exchanges, including Binance Exchange, has maybe had some fluctuations of fake USDT into it, Bybit, MEXC, and Gate.io, with fraudulent tokens on Ton. Blockchain researchers indicate that the hackers deployed a fake smart contract for USDT on Ton designed to mimic the metadata of the official smart contract. That's why it fools the exchange's deposit system. While fake deposits are not common things in the industry, blockchain analysts had previously warned. This is the interesting part as well, that the blockchain analyst back in 2023 warned that there's a possibility we can get fluctuations of fake stablecoins happening. So while fake deposits are not a common thing in the industry, blockchain analysts had previously warned about this type of attack that could possibly happen, 2023 onwards. They mentioned this in 2023, and they said it could possibly happen in the future where we get fake stablecoins. At that time, analysts at the blockchain firm Slowmist highlighted the unique characteristics of TON transactions, noting that almost all internal messages sent between smart contracts should essentially bounceable. So in other words, bounce back, meaning that if the target smart contract doesn't exist or encounters essentially an unhandled expectation, the message will bounce back to the original essentially account. If an attacker transfers to an account without a deployed contract, setting bounce deposits amounts, after deducting the handling fee, it will bounce back to the original account. The exchange sees a deposit recorded, but the deposit currency returns to the attacker's account instead. Slowmist wrote. However, the firm noted at the time that almost all blockchains face the problem of false deposits, adding that TON blockchain is no exception. So it's not just on TON network that hackers are creating fake stablecoins, and some exchange deposit systems are actually falling for these fake USDTs. But the new trend is the dude on TON's chain, and they're pretending to be the real USDT. I mean, that is just taken to a whole nother level in terms of, essentially scamming people. Well, not people in this instance, but scamming the house. And by the house, I mean the exchanges. But this is basically like, walking into a casino and, using fake deposits, let's say. But yeah, that is the most absurd story I've heard so far, because the idea of, moving away from cash, it was also because, governments were saying cash is essentially to, it could be fake deposits and so on. We have so many fake, essentially, cash being printed for years now. It's still probably going on in the market spaces. But, also happening inside the crypto space as well. But I think by that time, when we do, in terms of we have full-on regulations and institutions and banks and corporations, everybody's in the field, they most likely will patch it up so nobody can create fake USDT. But you know what's ironically funny about it? They're not creating fake USDC. They're not creating fake USDC. They're creating the hackers are only creating fake USDT. That is also an interesting part about it as well, that they're only creating fake USDT, and not in small amounts, large amounts, flushing it through the exchanges to clean it, and then you could do anything else with it. But yeah, that is just, when I heard that story, I thought, wow. I mean, I did say, do you know when I read that story, I was thinking to myself, back in 2023, on this live show, I said that hackers are going to get very, very advanced. I said scamming is going to get very, very advanced the further we go into the crypto space, is what I said back in 2023. And now, fast forward to 2024, we have fake USDT. The only issue is, does that mean the exchanges might give you fake USDT as well? Or will that be flushed out of the exchanges beforehand? Now, the next news to go for on tonight's live show is BitPro. BitoPro teams up with a local bank to open crypto-friendly bank accounts in Taiwan. We're going to go through that next on tonight's live show. Before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. We were here. What's your thoughts on Algo, Vet, and Safe? Algo, why not? It's a safe project. You can't go wrong. Apologies. Algo is good. Vet, they have applied for that license. I haven't chased it up to see if they got their license yet, but I'm sure they would get their license. Safe is a good platform for as in a wallet. A lot of exchanges do use Safe. They have up to $47 billion worth of assets on Safe, so it's also good in that aspect. Good evening, Miles. On CMF. Imon, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? How's everyone doing today? I'm doing great, brother. How you been? Evening, crypto peeps. Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? What up, Miles and family? Ray, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Surely they can be tracked. Well, they're trying to flush it out the systems. Morning, Miles. Hey to all our CMF family. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing, Shelly? Morning. Hackers Tone advanced that in the Ton network you can create earned yield on USDC. Yeah, that would be quite advanced if they did that. They have cloned chips before and got caught. True. That wouldn't be good. Look for Ton network. For Ton network either, Miles, would it? Well, it's going to help Ton network to essentially, even if it is bot payments or hackers payments, it's going to help Ton network in terms of the adoption rate. But no, it's not only happening on Ton. That's the thing. If it was only happening on Ton network, then it was something to definitely be looking into. But because it's happening on a mixture of networks, not just Tons, it's okay. But if it was only specifically one chain that this was going on, then that'd be a big issue. But because it's a mixture of chains that's happening to, so they're doing it on Ethereum, they're doing it on essentially Ton, they're doing it on BNB. It's a mixture of exchange chains they're doing it on. You mean the USDT Tether printed for a rainy day? Yeah, Tether does print quite a lot of money as well for no apparent reason. It's a bit strange that they are targeting USDT. Yep, it is. Peter, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Miles, I don't know how true this is, but I read that 80% of BTC's volume is from USDT. If true, can you imagine what will happen to BTC if USDT goes down for any reason? Yes, however, sorry, I come in halfway through, so didn't hear that bit. No problem, Shelly. Good evening, Miles. Pro, how you doing? Good to see you. How you been? And regarding what Freedom Favor said, so Freedom Favor said, Miles, I don't know how true this is, but I read that 80% of BTC volume is from USDT. If true, can you imagine how will that happen to BTC if USDT goes down for any reason? If USDT goes down for any reason, the amount of BTC being held, the price is obviously going to be affected, 100%. The price of not just BTC, but in general, the entire crypto market will go down. But imagine the buying opportunity on that. Just imagine it for a second. Honestly, if USDT gets phased out, then the exchanges, we won't see that much of a down, just the regular manipulation and speed bumps. If USDT doesn't get phased out and instead just goes downhill, then it'll be like Christmas, your birthday, New Year's, all rolled into one. Honestly, the marketplace will be on fire in terms of a sale going on if that happens. And it wouldn't last too long either. I'll be honest. If USDT gets phased out, then it's normal. It'll be just get phased out and replaced by another stablecoin. But if it gets goes sideways, the sale wouldn't last too long either. But it will be absolutely beautiful. It will be like New Year's, your birthday, and everything pretty much rolled into one day on the sale of everything. Now, Bitter Pro teams up with local banks in Taiwan to essentially open up a crypto-friendly bank account. That's true. Let's go, Pro Bill. So, Bitter Pro, parent company, Bitter Group, has entered into a partnership agreement with Far Eastern International Bank, Banki, to launch a crypto-friendly bank account in Taiwan. Bitter Group, the parent company of the Taiwanese crypto exchange BitterPro, has teamed up with the local digital bank Far Eastern Europeans and Banki to process fiat transactions between the exchanges, customers, and banks. In a press release, essentially, Bitter Group CEO Titan Cheng said that initially the company is expecting to increase the average daily transaction amount per user by 25%. That's going to help the crypto space in terms of retail section. Cheng also expressed optimism about the potential for explosive growth once the service is fully accessible in all Taiwanese customers regarding a crypto bank. Additionally, BitterPro has partnered with NewWeb Technologies, a third-party payment processor in Taiwan, to launch a BitterPay, a payment service that would enable approximately 300,000 merchants across Taiwan to accept crypto payments. The latest developments underscores a broader trend of international crypto firms enhancing educational efforts and essential infrastructure in Taiwan. In early June, the interesting part about this Taiwanese crypto bank that's coming out of nowhere, the idea of it. And this is the interesting part, because in early June, Tether, the largest stablecoin issuer by market capitalization, invested about $18.75 million in the Taipei headquarters crypto exchange, DREX, to expand its use cases for USDT-based payments in emerging markets, i.e. Taiwan. Additionally, Tether also recently announced it would essentially be joining forces with the National Taipei University of Technology to bolster blockchain and digital asset education in the region as well. The partnership aims to equip students with comprehensive knowledge and practical skills in blockchain technology, Bitcoin, and stablecoins also. Now, so we're going to have essentially a crypto bank starting up in Taiwan. The crypto bank's funds, apparently some of them are coming from Tether. So, the easiest way for you to be able to control some sort of market spaces is by owning your own bank. Now, if Tether came out with the news that Tether is creating a bank, then I think that will be the moment that the US would start going after Tether for real. I'll be honest. Because if you do create a bank, then you have ultimate control. Especially somebody like Tether that prints out of thin air. Tether prints, we still don't know what's backing it, because they don't show transparency. Not to us, the retail section, who's using their stablecoin, not even to the EU in terms of the MiCA regulations, where they just want to see if Tether has backings. Tether's not interested to show their backings. So the idea of Tether owning a bank would raise alarms inside of the US. And that's when you see the US actually fully going after Tether. So this could be a loophole for Tether to be able to own a bank through another crypto platform that they invested in, and is now opening a Taiwanese bank. And the interesting part is the Taiwanese CEO of this bank is going to become, he said that this is going to prop up 25% more volume coming in from each citizen. I don't know how that's going to work out. Are they going to be flooding it with numbers? Because how can you assume opening a crypto exchange bank is going to increase each person coming in 25% more volume coming in? Unless you're going to prop up the numbers yourself. Because honestly, owning a bank is the easiest way to control the game. Especially if they're launching in a country like Taiwan. Nothing wrong with Taiwan, beautiful country, amazing people, but their laws are a bit loose. So, on the topic of USDT, stablecoin USDT, more popular than Bitcoin in Latin America. Not only that, but apparently, according to a study test, in Latin America, USDT, XRP are more popular in terms of transactions than Bitcoin. Not even joking. USDT ranks number one in terms of transaction volume. USDT is number one in terms of volume transactions in Latin American countries. The second crypto project that's ranking number two is XRP in terms of volume. The third is Bitcoin in Latin American countries in terms of volume. So, stablecoin USDT more popular than Bitcoin in Latin America. Over 40% of all crypto trades in Latin America involve USDT stablecoin, signaling a essentially waning interest in Bitcoin, which is even a trailing essentially XRP in the region's top trading pairs as well. Stablecoins are more popular in Latin America than Bitcoin, as stablecoins to fiat trading pairs account for more than 60% of the top 10 trading volumes in the region, according to the data compiled by Kilo Co., a blockchain analyst firm. The data reveals that USDT issued by Tether is significantly more popular than Bitcoin among Latin American trades, accounting for over 40% of all trades. Kilo's notes essentially that its growing dominance of stablecoins have prompted local central banks to increasingly consider issuing central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, through it remains uncertain if they can compete effectively. It's got to a stage where Latin American countries are now thinking to themselves, we should be creating CBDCs because stablecoins are taking over. In a surprising development, in Latin American countries, Bitcoin, do you know what the interesting part is and why it's surprising? Is because Bitcoin is a legal tender, and essentially, Argentina or El Salvador is some sort of a legal tender. So, in a surprising development in Latin American countries, Bitcoin is even lagging behind XRP, a token developed by Ripple that data indicates that the XRP slash MXN trading pairs has surpassed BTC by at least $1 billion in turnover. By at least $1 billion in turnover, essentially XRP has passed Bitcoin. However, Kilo notes that XRP's popularity in the region is mainly due to its partnerships with Bitso crypto exchange, which is just good business with Ripple on that end. So essentially Ripple did a very good move on partnering with Bitso crypto exchange in Latin America to boost itself, because it definitely worked out. Because they're turning over $1 billion more than Bitcoin in those countries, Latin American countries. Despite these shifts, Binance also continues to dominate the market in terms of turnovers, particularly in stablecoin trades. According to Kilco, the firm also highlighted the rapid growth of Brazilian crypto markets, with monthly BRL trade volumes averaging 1.3 billion, up from the essentially 0.700 million in 2023. However, Kikelo says that Binance's dominance appears to be weighing in the region, as trade volumes on the Mercado Bitcoin, Brazilian's largest crypto exchange, more than doubled in 2024, driving the activity in both Bitcoin and altcoins. So, according to data from the analyst firm Kilo Co., number one ranking in Latin American countries in terms of cryptocurrencies being used is a stablecoin. Everybody probably sees that one coming, USDT. The one that nobody sees coming is XRP's ranking 2 in terms of transactions. And Bitcoin is ranking 3 in terms of transactions in Latin American countries, even though Bitcoin is a legal tender in some of those Latin American countries. But USDT is ranking 1, XRP is ranking 2, and Bitcoin is ranking 3 in terms of volume. I guess even in countries like Latin America, they know the potential of XRP. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is AI to drive financial industry profits to $2 trillion by 2028 is what the data is suggesting. But before we go through that, let's go start the conversation first. So we were here. Thanks, Miles. Free and forever, no problem, anytime. Tether's case remains a debate. No, absolute. Yes, Tether's case so far does remain a debate, definitely. But the issue is Tether's not showing transparency. Do you know how easy it is for Tether's case to just come to an end? Very easy. Show transparency. Honestly, it's so easy for the whole debate of, does Tether have backings? Is Tether dodgy? Is USDT, shady? It's so easy to end that debate. Show transparency. That's all they have to do in terms of what's backing your assets. And why do you keep on printing out of thin air for rainy days? But they won't. That's where all the red flags come out of nowhere. Well, not out of nowhere, we know where. Um, Give me control of the nation's currency and I care not who makes the laws. Let's go in. Now, AI to drive the financial industry profits to $2 trillion by 2028. So, according to a report from Citibank, AI could boost global banking and help boost profits by 9% or $170 billion from just over $1.8 trillion to close to $2 trillion. AI is essentially expected to be the general purpose technology, GPT, of the 2020s and 2030s and will revolutionize finance by changing operations and security by creating new concepts of intellectual property protection worldwide. Again, this is coming from a report from Citibank. AI generated insights are vital in combating real time payment scams, such as authorized push payments, essentially APP fraud. APP fraud is responsible for 40% of the banking frauds losses in the UK, for example. The total cost is expected to be 5 billion to 25 billion pounds in the US or the UK and India by 2026 if left essentially unmitigated. So the UK, the US, and Indian banks are really going towards AI for banking security because they're losing quite a lot of money to fraud, and AI could stop fraud. Global AI policies diverge essentially as the EU, China, and Singapore lead. While some countries such as the European Union, China, and Singapore have set policies on AI in finance, the United States have been slow and passive. India had followed a policy of non interference at the beginning of 2023. However, by mid 2024, due to the changing directives and advisors, the country had planned to introduce comprehensive laws for AI. AI can provide a significant increase in development productivity and productivity improvements ranging from 10% to 5%. This could mean that potential annual cost reductions of between $2 billion to $16 billion within the US banking sector. These efficiencies, essentially regarding improvements, are attributed to the new age AI based software applications that automate tasks that were earlier managed by technological personnel. The report expands on the roles of AI and compares it to the steam engine of the Industrial Revolution and the Internet. As a result of improving analytic capacities, essentially a result of decision making and content, AI will be able to create new economic models and challenge current essential conventions. The general AI advances are from proof of concept to transformational change. Thus, the applications of Gen AI in finance is still a POC chase. However, that is the subject of change and transformational shift that's been happening quickly. The Citibank GPS report outlines that current and near future applications of AI in financial industry and provides future trends based on opinions of industry professionals. In a very simple gist, we're going to go through it a bit more as well because there's some data to go through, but in a very simple gist, they're just saying that a lot of people inside the banking sector are bound to lose their jobs. If you work in the banking sector, you might want to be, if you are working in finance in terms of the banking sectors, you might want to be looking into a new job because AI is about to take over your job, according to a report from Citibank. And in terms of AI also protecting people from scams. So a lot of people have been scammed through their banks, not by the bank themselves, but by scammers pretending to be members of the bank. Now, if a scammer does contact you and they're not a member of the bank, the AI system of the bank can detect that this is not somebody from the bank and then stop you from sending money to a scammer, which is a lot more, better essentially in terms of using humans because, humans will never know until you do the fraud and then you contact the fraud department in the bank and say, I got compromised. So before the phone call of I got compromised, AI will stop the transaction before it ever goes to the scammer itself. Now, traditional players are integrating AI in their products to increase efficiency, while startups are using AI regarding traditional players. This shift as approach points to the fact that AI is already revolutionizing the finance industry in its approach. These include AI-powered agents, bots, and Autonomous systems that are expected to revolutionize financial systems by reducing the role of people in financial transactions. By reducing the role of people in financial transactions. If you do work in the bank, you might want to start looking for a new job. This is not a random report by a random person. This is from Citibank. This is their new report on AI and banking. Leaders embrace AI, expecting profit boost. The report states that 93% of finance sector leaders believe that AI-based productivity improvements will boost profits. However, there are concerns about the timings of implementation, cost of talent, competition, rising client expectations, and the higher expenses in relations to AI. AI-based clients may increase price pressures in the financial sector, which may alter the power dynamics. It is also expected that digital native cloud-based firms such as fintechs and big techs will likely implement AI faster, followed by agile banks, traditional institutions that are still using traditional technology, and culture may lag behind in terms of the adoption of AI technology and may lose the market share. Now, what they're doing is, in terms of the banking sector, is going to be changing everything. Starting now, up until 2027 to 2028. The banking sector is going to go completely revolutionary. It's going to be changing, completely doing a 360, let's say, where a lot of people are going to lose their jobs in the banks. The ones that know how to use AI will still keep their jobs in the banks and probably get a higher wage. It just goes back to that old saying, a lot of people, when AI comes along, and it is right now replacing some people in terms of their jobs, but it goes back to that old saying where people working on a farm a very long time ago, people working on a farm and a tractor comes along. And people think, oh no, the workers on the farm say, oh no, we've lost our jobs because the tractor will take our jobs away now. The people that essentially learned how to drive the tractor and use the tractor on the farm kept their jobs, which is the old story essentially. So if you know how to use AI, you're going to keep your job wherever you work at, any office or any bank. You're going to keep your job and you're probably going to get paid higher than your colleagues because your colleagues will be fired because they never bothered learning about AI and you did. So if you want to keep your 9 to 5 job, study AI just in case you're about to get replaced and they don't replace you because you know how to use that to the company's advantage. Always be, 5 to 10 steps ahead. Now, also regarding the AI being customer service, I hope that works out very well. What we have right now inside of the AI situation is not great. I'll be honest. Regarding, trying to contact banks and talking to computers is not that great. I hope eventually does become better. Now, end of these, because I hate talking to a computer or to a bot when I call a bank. When I call my bank and it goes, and the bot answers and it goes, this, if you want this, say this. If you want that, say this. And I say what I want, but it never, translates to the bank understanding, the bot understanding what I'm trying to say. And then at the end, it just goes, would you like to talk to a human? Or would you like to talk to an employee of the bank? And I say yes. And that just connects me to a human being, which is 10 times faster. So I hope, on those levels, AI does. I know they're not, massive AI projects regarding those bot systems in the banks, but I hope it's nothing like that in terms of what Citibank is talking about, because those bots are ridiculously useless. Now, the end of stablecoins. Why exchanges are abandoning stablecoins in the EU. Is this the end of stablecoins? Is the news article coming out? And the reason why they're coming out with this news article is because of the MiCA regulations. Now, there's a lot of attention going around inside the crypto space. A lot of people are genuinely assuming that this could be the end of stablecoins. But it's not really the end of stablecoins. It's more like the start of regulations. So, before we go through that news regarding stablecoins, the EU, and we're also going to go through what exchanges are going to be doing. Now, by the way, if you think, well, this is only relatable to the EU, no, not really. Because what's happening in the EU could happen in your jurisdictions as well, because most likely, if you're watching this live show, your country is most likely under G20 countries as well. If you're in a G20 country, which means the UK, the US, the EU, Australia, Japan, and so on, China, Russia, or Singapore, and so on, you are in a G20 country, which means whatever happens in the EU is also going to happen in your jurisdiction as well. So if the EU is bringing out these regulations, you're going to have similar regulations, no matter where you are as well. Now, before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. We were at here, I think. Yeah. Well, just thinking of the year, it will be number one XRP, number two Ripple, number two Ripple stablecoin, etc., etc. Yep, I agree, JP. Just think this time next year. Yep. Miles, your thoughts on the ZK situation? I don't have any thoughts on it yet because I only had a glance into it. I'll keep on hearing about it. I'll read up on it and let you know my thoughts on the Telegram group, or even tomorrow. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Apologies for lateness. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Lena, I'm still doing the PDF. I haven't forgotten regarding your regarding your projects from the exchange to your cold wallet. Still doing it. Genuinely apologies for being so late on it. I always ask for the operator straight away as well. Lol. Yeah, me too. I don't have patience for that. Lol. Yeah, me either. I'll be honest. Every time I talk to a bot from the bank, I just keep on saying customer service, customer service, customer service, hoping the bot from the bank puts me through to customer service. Some here, Miles, rather speak to a human being. Same here, Miles, rather speak to a human being. Yeah, facts. Honestly, the bots that we have so far within the banking system is annoying, to say the least. So I'm hoping the bots that we're going to have later on in the banking system aren't the ones that we still have now. Now, end of stablecoins. Why exchanges are abandoning stablecoins in the EU. The European stablecoin regulation will come into force June 30th, as I previously said on this live show. But now I'm going to explain to you what these exchanges are particularly doing, and what could possibly happen in other Western countries as well, or G20 countries. So, while the European Banking Authority (EBA) and the European Securities Market Authority (ESMA) are essentially consulting on implementing the new rules, the MICA requires stablecoin issuers to be registered within the EU. However, the issue about how the law will apply to decentralized and foreign issuers remains unsolved. EBA representatives emphasize that there will be no grace period for stablecoins that are already entering the markets. How the MICA classifies stablecoins. Only a tiny portion of European institutional funds have access to cryptocurrencies, mostly due to the regulatory uncertainty. Again, this is the reason why we need regulations. The more regulations we have, the more money that comes in from the corporate sector, the more the market starts propping up. So, with the MICA essentially stating, only a tiny portion of the European institutional funds have access to cryptocurrencies. Why? Because there's no regulations. But we're going to get the regulations now, so we should see the institutional money coming in. And this is why the EU doesn't want USDT, because they don't want institutions in the EU using USDT, and a USDT one day doesn't have backings, because most likely it doesn't, and then it takes the market down, which would damage the EU's economy or any other economy that's using USDT in terms of institutional money. So only a tiny portion of European institutional funds have access to cryptocurrencies, mostly due to the regulatory uncertainty. However, the emergence of MICA is likely to assuage these concerns by encouraging leading EU banks to offer services such as custody, trading, and issuance of e-money tokens or stablecoins. These are all the things that's coming in the EU now after June 30th. After the end of this month, a lot of things are going to be changing in the EU. The MICA also requires stablecoin issuers to maintain sufficient reserves. So if you want to be a stablecoin in the EU, essentially, under the MICA regulations, you have to have sufficient reserves. Show transparency as well. According to the EBA chairman, Joes, the agency will pay particular attention to the diversification of these funds. Operators need to, and among other things, eliminate conflicts, interest, and display the connection of storage facilities with trading pairs. The new MICA regulations are turning points for the crypto industry. The implementation of the MICA regulations marks a decisive turning point for the crypto industry in Europe. Adapted to enhance market security and transparency, these new rules impose significant restrictions, particularly on the use of unregulated stablecoins, which crypto exchanges are abandoning their stablecoins in Europe. I think that's an owl. I'm not even sure. My window's open. I'm guessing it's an owl. Now, Uphold, if you're hearing that weird noise in the background, sounds like an owl. Could be. Which crypto exchanges are abandoning the stablecoins in Europe? Uphold. Starting July 1st, Uphold will stop trading, essentially, or supporting USDT, DAI, FRAX, GUSD, USDP, and TUSD. All of these stablecoins, including USDT, from Uphold July 1st, will no longer operate essentially in the European Economic Areas, EEA, to comply with MiCA requirements. Owners of stablecoins must convert them into any other assets by June 28th. Otherwise, the essentially excluding cryptocurrencies will be automatically replaced with USD coin, USDC. The platform will also continue to support EURC from Circle and PYUSD from PayPal. Binance. Binance, one of the leading crypto exchanges, recently announced adjustments to comply with MiCA as well. So that was Uphold. Uphold is fully complying with the MiCA regulations. Uphold is going to be essentially removing USDT for EU citizens completely. If you are inside the EU, you might want to, essentially transfer your USDT, change it to something else, another stablecoin like USDC, so it can be used in the EU if you are using Uphold. No financial advice in any sort of a way. This is just information from Uphold Exchange. Now, Binance Exchange. Binance, one of the leading crypto exchanges, recently also announced adjustments to comply with the MiCA as well. From the beginning of the month, Binance specified that stablecoins such as USDT will remain available for spot trading, deposits, and withdrawals. Essentially, however, their usage will be limited on certain products like Simple Earn and margin trading. So Binance in the past was not complying with the EU. Now they're slowly becoming compliant with the EU with a new CEO and so on. But also previously, Binance stated that they'll keep USDT on the exchange up until the last minute and then remove it. But now Binance is saying we'll keep it on the exchange up until the last minute, but also you can't use USDT for the margin trading. You can't use USDT for Simple Earn. So a lot of capabilities on Binance Exchange you can't use USDT for. The basic feature of just using USDT for spot to buy something, you can. Anything else, you can't. By adjusting the services in this way instead, Binance aims to minimize the disruptions for its users while ensuring a smooth transition to a range of MiCA compliant stablecoins. So Binance will also eventually remove USDT for EU markets. This is very bad for USDT. USDT right now is pushing itself in foreign markets because USDT knows that it's about to lose the West completely. Because with the EU doing this, you know for a fact the UK is going to follow the EU. You know for a fact the US is going to follow essentially the Western markets as well. Canada is going to follow the Western markets and so on. And a lot of other countries will also probably join in because of G20 regulations. Now, by adjusting these services in this way, Binance aims to minimize disruptions for its users while ensuring a smooth transition to the range of MiCA compliant stablecoins. This change affects not only Binance but the entire crypto industry, which must now adapt to this new legislation frameworks. Binance and the MiCA a strategic response. Binance's response to the MiCA regulation highlights the importance of this legislation for the future of cryptocurrencies in Europe. By limiting access to unregulated stablecoins, Binance strives to comply with the new rules while continuing to offer competitive services. For example, the Simple Earn products will see restrictions on new subscriptions involving unauthorized stablecoins, while existing subscriptions will remain unchanged. Similarly, margin trading with these stablecoins will be limited, although current balances can still be used for trading. Rewards and referral commissions will now be paid in BNB crypto or compliant stablecoins. If you are essentially staking on Binance in terms of that matter, you're not going to be paid in USDT anymore, even in terms of staking. If you're in the EU, you're going to get BNB instead. So Binance is also becoming compliant, and they're eventually are definitely going to be removing USDT. Now, Kraken Exchange. Bloomberg recently reported that Kraken would stop supporting USDT in Europe as well in May. Journalists noted that the exchange's decision may be related to the adapting European rules for regulating cryptocurrency industries. In response to the plans of Kraken cryptocurrency platform, Representatives of Tether, the issuer of USDT, said that they want exchanges to maintain a stablecoin for the withdrawal of funds and deposits. The company also recalled that its chief executive officer, the essential chief executive officer from Tether, had already expressed concerns about the certain aspects of the MICA requirements and stated that Tether would continue to work with the regulatory authorities of the European Union. However, Patrick Sutton, the head of communications at Kraken, later denied Bloomberg statements. In a comment, they said there is no plans. This is what Kraken said. There are no plans to delist Tether or alter our USDT pairs. As a leading crypto exchange, we are constantly evaluating our global strategies and operations to ensure that we remain compliant now and in the future. We are committed to following the rules. We continue our mission of accelerating the adoption of this asset class. So, Kraken, essentially in some sort of a way, saying we might not be delisting, but in reality they have to, because Kraken also mentioned that we are committed to following the rules. So, just based on that one sentence that Kraken said, we are committed to following the rules. Well, the rules are in the MICA, no USDT. So, is Kraken going to be delisting USDT? Yes, because Kraken stated we follow the rules. Well, if you follow the rules are no USDT in the MICA. Patrick Sutton, head of communications at Kraken. The firm's head of growth and asset management, Mark Greenberg, also said that Kraken will continue to serve payments and trading pairs with USDT stablecoin in Europe until the end. Just like Binance, until last minute, they'll remove it. Greenberg noted that Kraken will follow all legal requirements, but since the rules have yet to be approved, the company is doing its best to offer popular stablecoins to European customers, he said. Once they actually implement it, then Kraken will delist it as well. Now, OKX Exchange. Since March 14th, the OKX Exchange crypto has essentially deprived European users of trading pairs with USDT. OKX's decision is likely due to the fact that the MICA includes a clause for the mandatory licensing of stablecoin operators. The crypto exchange does not have such permissions, therefore, the team decided to proactively, in order to avoid falling under regulatory pressure, they just delisted USDT starting March. As an alternative to Tether's first and most popular stablecoin, the OKX team offered European users USDC as an external competitor to USDT. What is going to change in Europe with MICA? For crypto investors, MICA offers appreciated regulatory insights that can shape the trajectory of digital asset regulations. MICA is meant to bring clarity to one of the world's largest markets, making the EU an even more attractive place for Web3 companies to innovate and attract talent. Regulatory clarity drives innovation and market competitiveness, providing the confidence and certainty that both investors and businesses need. Mostly, essentially, I think the owl is back, but mostly, essentially, investors, businesses is what they care about. So the EU doesn't want essentially, USDT to be damaging the EU economies. And that is the main reason why they're getting rid of it. But also because USDT does have backings from China, which they claim they don't. And we don't know because we don't know what's backing it. But here's the thing. I understand the concerns of the EU. Some people are against the EU for doing this. Some people inside the crypto space are against it and saying, the EU should give people freedom of choice to use any stablecoin they want. But you've got to understand it from the EU's perspective and not from your own moronic perspective. You see, the EU is actually coming from a place of actual knowledge and thinking, because maybe the average Joe can't see this, but USDT has been in court before, and they paid a $41 million fine because they couldn't prove their assets. Now, that happened a while ago inside the crypto space, which a lot of people don't talk about, which I revealed on this live show as well a few nights ago. But what the EU is trying to do is not really, taking away people's freedoms inside the crypto space. The EU is actually trying to bring some sort of stability, because that is what you want from a stablecoin. You want stability because the crypto market is too volatile. And how do we get out of that volatile space? Do we go inside of fiat? Hell no. We go inside of stablecoins. So if we're going inside of stablecoins, we want the stablecoins to be stable. The last thing we want is our stablecoins to go And before anybody says, well, that won't happen, Tether's too big to fail or whatever, TUSD was a #1 ranking stablecoin at one point. Not #1, but it was in the top 5, top 3 even. And that took the market down with it. USDT is much more bigger. It will damage the market if it takes it down with it. So, and with the EU doing this, they're actually doing it to protect your assets. Believe it or not, for the first time ever. They're not mostly doing it to protect the average Joe's assets regarding going against USDT. They're actually doing it for the businesses. So institutions in the EU want to enter the crypto space, and they're going to be entering with their funds, institutional funds, after the MiCA regulations have been implemented, and we essentially keep on getting regulations coming in from the EU. The institutions will come in, so that means more market, more money from institutions that have all the money will start flooding into the crypto space because of the MiCA regulations. Eventually, slowly, which is great for us. Honestly, if you're holding legitimate projects, it's absolutely amazing on that basis. So, and the protecting part is for the institutions, but you fall under the same umbrella essentially. There's one umbrella, and they're protecting the institutions, and also you're under the umbrella as well, because they don't want they don't want European institutions using USDT, and then God forbid USDT has no backings, and China is actually manipulating the game with USDT, and then essentially, USDT goes downhill. Businesses in the EU get affected. EU economy goes downhill, and people start losing a massive amount of money on USDT, on their businesses, on the European economy, and so on. But this is the start of USDT. The end of this month is going to be the start of USDT getting phased out slowly. So USDT is going to go from the #1 stablecoin to the top 10 stablecoin, most likely, if it carries on like this. Because first it'll be the EU, then it'll be the UK, then it'll be Canada, then it'll be the US, then it'll be the G20 countries following in suit, because they all signed the same declaration. So this essentially will be the start, at the end of this month, of USDT slowly getting phased out. And again, I told you, we need a stablecoin to replace USDT. Is this stablecoin that's going to be replacing USDT, USDC? Hell no. USDC has depegged once, and that was more than once, as in more than enough. People would prefer a stablecoin that's never depegged and has full transparency of reserves. Tether, shady, no transparency. USDC, depegged once. That's not good either. So we need a stablecoin that has reserves. We need a stablecoin that does not depeg, and we don't have that yet. We don't have a particular stablecoin like that yet inside the market space. One that has full transparency, actual reserves, and no depegging issues. Yet. Why I say yet is because Ripple's stablecoin is on the way. And I've said this before, hate Ripple or love Ripple, you know for a fact if they come out with a stablecoin, you know for a fact that Ripple is going to be backing that stablecoin. Ripple already stated that they're going to be showing full transparency every month on their reserves. And you know for a fact that stablecoin will never depeg. Because Ripple made a very bold statement. Which is also true, to be fairly honest. They said that since the day XRP was launched until now, their networks have essentially never had any issues. No congestion, no compromisation. All payments have successfully always processed. Since the day XRP was created until now, no network issues. All payments, successfully transactions between people around the world. No issues on the speed, no issues on the cost, no issues on congestion. Literally no crypto project can say that. Not the main ones, because nobody cares about the other ones. The main ones. Solana's crashed 11 times. The last time was 5 hours. The network wasn't working. I told everyone a few nights ago, it was about a week, well now it's about a week ago, but about a week ago I was trying to do a transaction on Solana. The transaction failed like 10, 11 times until it went through. Ethereum has always had congestion issues as well. So many issues have happened on the big chains. But again, bold statement or not, true from Ripple. So hate it or love it when it comes to Ripple. For a fact, if they come out with a stable coin, it's going to be fast, it's going to be cheap, it's never going to get congested, and it has reserves. And they said they're going to show full reserves every month, transparency. So love it or hate it, Ripple stablecoin is going to be the best. Now, And I think it's a very coordinated move that Ripple, because it's very coordinated, that Ripple said they're going to come up with a stablecoin this year. The same year that the EU is going to start phasing out USDT is the same year Ripple comes out with a stablecoin. Coincidence or coordinated? Now, before we go to the next news, which is Swiss central banks, we're going to go through. We're going to go through the steps of the Swiss central banks and the steps essentially of CBDCs, tokenization CBDCs, and so on. So what's going to happen next, essentially? But before we go through Swiss banks, let's go inside the comment section first. We were at here, I think. Yep. Why IOST move up so slowly? MRD, I don't know. Maybe I have to look into them, because I will have to look into it before I could give you a better perspective. What's up, brother? And CMF XRP news below. Yes, we went through earlier on regarding XRP news. Actually, yes, that USDT is the number one transaction in terms of volume in Latin America, and then XRP was second, and then Bitcoin was third in terms of volume from Latin American countries. That part was good. Also, what do you think about Reefcoin? I don't know what their recent developments are, so I have to take a look into it. Direct message me. I'll take a look into it. No problem. Ian, are you laughing about the owl noise? G, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Logging out. Thanks, Miles. Probe, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Do you think that MICA will trim those cryptos with no utility? Eventually, what the MICA regulations are doing, it's not just affecting stablecoins, because right now it is. But afterwards, it's going to affect useless projects as well. We do have quite a lot of useless crypto projects inside the crypto space. So eventually, they are going to be essentially phased out as well. The useless projects inside the crypto space in the EU markets. The EU is starting with stablecoins. They're going to first fix the stablecoin market space, which is the biggest market space out there inside the crypto space, because it's the number one type of currency that's being used 24/7 basis inside the crypto space. So first, they're going to fix the stablecoin category, and then they're going to move on to different categories inside the crypto space. Your ERC will fill for USDT on a temporary basis, yes. Any news regarding KuCoin and USDT in EU? No. Regarding KuCoin, no, not yet. Ripple needs to hurry up then. Facts. Let's go check it. Then Ripple stablecoin, pretty much. Hi family, I can hear you or hi family, I can't hear you or join in. I'm sitting at a wedding, bored. I'm only single person here, but thank goodness for all the good champagne and food. Let's go, happy Pisces. Hope the wedding's going good. Miles, you told us all here at least a year ago about regulations for 2024, so thank you for keeping all us grounded. USDT is front, and I think XRP is Bitcoin replacement in the future. Excellent. Let's go for it forever. No problem on the help. Yeah, I told you everybody. Fair point, honestly. I did tell everybody. In 2023, I told everybody, if anybody remembers, I used this particular quote. If you were watching me in 2023 on this live show that I do every single night, if you're watching me, I used this particular quote. I said, 2023 is the end of the road, and 2024 is when the world starts shifting into a digital era. I said 2023 is the end of the road, and 2024 is the world shifting into a digital era, is what I said, in terms of the regulations and so on, which has pretty much happened exactly as I said. I don't trust EU either. They are not here to benefit us. They are against the investors. Well, essentially they're protecting the institutional investors, which you would fall under the same umbrella. Because if they're protecting the institutional investors, you would fall under their umbrella as well. I too had a problem with Solana last week for a 24 to 48 hour period. Facts. I believe Ripple will be the wealthiest company in the world one day. 100% are backing that as well. Will replace Arbitrum and XDC is another winner. Yes. Ethereum, I mean. Yes. I figured you meant Ethereum. You need CC captions. Lol. That way, at least you could read what Miles is saying. Do you want me to? But happy Pisces. Good to see you as well. Hope the wedding goes great. But I mean, at least the champagne is good in the wedding. Happy Hyper Sniper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Coordinate with institutions coming in the game. Let's go. Yeah, Miles, proper owl, that brother. I think the SEC and Ripple plays together. We've had that. Yeah, we've had that ideology going inside this live show as well. Mike, let's go. She can't hear you, Miles. Lol. Happy Pisces. Miles is laughing at you. Comments, cheers. Yep. I can type though, which is something I don't do on this live show. But it doesn't work. Oh, I'm using a third party. Yep, it's not going to work. Never mind. Shelly, thank you for the interpretation. Do we as retailers need to take any action or a USDT removal? If you're inside the retail section and you're using USDT and you're not in EU, if you're in the EU, then preferably start shifting away from USDT and start using USDC instead for the time being. But if you are in the outside of the EU, you're perfectly fine. Don't worry about it for the time being. If you're in the EU, start shifting to another stablecoin. Shelly, inside the comment section, can you write "Happy Pisces, how you doing, and enjoy the champagne"? Because if I type it, it doesn't work because I'm on a third party. Because I'm showing to YouTube and live at the same time. So could somebody type that for me? Swiss central banks undertakes world first tokenization on terms of monetary policy operations. That is the next news we're going to go for on tonight's slideshow. So, the Swiss National Bank, SNB. Now, this is the step-by-step of what's going to be happening. The Swiss National Bank, SNB, has announced that it has become the world's first central bank to carry out a monetary policy operation in the live production environment using distributed ledger technology. It's made the announcement. Happy Pisces, Miles says to tell you hi and hope you enjoy champagne. Shelly, thank you so much for that. Shelly, thank you so much for typing that up. I appreciate it. So, it made the announcements during a press conference in Zurich that they will lead the updates on topics such as inflation and Swiss economics outlooks before focusing on fintech-related innovations. Regarding chiefly new ambitions for its wholesale central bank digital currency CBDCs pilot initiatives Project Revolta. The SNB stated that it had successfully issued a digital SNB bill on the Sixth Digital Exchange (SDX), the tokenized asset platform, essentially sibling of the Sixth Swiss Exchange, Switzerland's principal stock exchange. At the beginning of June, the token-based bills, which had an issuance of volume of CHF 64 million, which is roughly about 56 million pounds or $71 million in a one-week term. Project Revolta, which is already in its third stage, is to be continued for at least 2 more years, and the scope broadened. The central bank also announced the third stage, which began in December 2023, had been scheduled to run for the end of this month, in June 2024. So June 2024 is going to come to an end of another project from the Swisses. The project program has enabled the SNB, the Swiss National Bank, to play a globally leading role in deploying wholesale CBDCs in a live production environment. A lot of things are happening in terms of CBDCs. The central bank, which is, Switzerland being the bank of the world, the central bank said, adding that it hopes that additional financial institutions will participate over time and that the wholesale CBDC can be made available for a wider range of financial transactions. Project Revolta's next step. Now, Project Revolta is also the Bank of International Settlements project. So, the first Project Revolta report published in conjunction of the Bank of International Settlements BIS Innovation Hub was published back in December 2022. The second phase added commercial banks to the experiment, integrated wholesale CBDCs into the core banking systems of the central banks and commercial banks, and ran transactions from end to end. Phase 3 of Project Evolta, which is essentially now, has seen the SNB, the Swiss National Bank, moving its wholesale CBDC activity from test environments into production. Right now, we're at, in terms of the Bank of International Settlements and in terms of the Swiss National Bank, in terms of what stage they're at, okay? The stage right now, the Bank of International Settlements and the Swiss National Bank is they finished, completed basically their test environments, and they're going into production now. With banks carrying out transactions on SDX as intermediaries for issuers and investors. The Bank of International Settlements has the cantons of the Basel, of the Stuttgart and Zurich, these cities of Laguna and St. Gallen, as well as UBS and the World Bank, have each issued a bond via SDX. As a part of the Phase 3, Bank Canton Vaud and Basel and Commerzbank and Luxor Bank and UBS Bank and Zurich Bank and so many other bank participants. The total value of transactions settled is about 750 million francs, which is about 663 million pounds, or about $839 million. Looking to the project's proposed broadenings, the SNB stated that the financial institutions will be informed in due course about how they can participate. By continuing the Project Evolta pilot, the SNB, Swiss National Bank, is supporting private sector innovation. Its announcements continued. The future success of the pilot project will largely depend on whether new financial markets participants join. So far, a massive list of banks have joined. Whether the volume of transactions increases, it will. And whether additional financial market transactions are settled on this platform, it will. Groundwork. Now, the reason why I say it will, because they're saying, oh, we don't know. All banks say this. All the testings were successful on CBDCs. We're going to go through in production, but we're not sure if we're going to go forward with it in terms of volume and so on. They're all lying to you. They're trying to give you that perception that, oh, we're still years away from going into CBDCs. Don't worry about it. You still have time. You don't have time. That's why they come off sometimes as we're going into it, but we're not sure. But the testings were all successful though. But if the testing was successful, so it's going to become successful. If the testings failed, then the project won't do too well. But all the tests so far from CBDCs have passed. They've all got green lights. But then after the testings are passed, they always come out, the central banks, and say, yeah, but we're not sure if we're going to launch it. Then why spend millions of dollars developing it, passing the testings, for you to go, we're not sure. They are sure, but they're full of BS. Groundworks for the future of finance. 6SDX put out its own announcements the same day as the SNB's press essentially conference, describing the continuation of the Evolta pilot as making a significant milestone, paving the way for wider adoption of tokenized ecosystems. This represents a major step forward in the financial industry's digital transformation, said Six Chiefs executive Joss. He also said, pioneering the use of wholesale central bank digital currencies goes beyond enhancing the efficiencies and securities of financial transactions. It is the groundwork for the future of finance. What's going on right now in terms of wholesale CBDCs, coming from the chief executive of Six, stating in Switzerland that the groundwork for the future of finance is going on right now. In terms of wholesale CBDCs, this project underscores our commitment to innovation and cements Switzerland's position at the forefront of digital asset adoption in capital markets. Well, it should do, because Switzerland has always been known as the Bank of the World. Robust and scalable financial market infrastructure requires that wholesale transactions be settled in central bank money only, basically. The safest form of money, said Six Digital Exchange head David Nunes. To fully utilize blockchain's potential, both tokenized investments and the settlement assets must be on the same chain. Project Evolta 3 demonstrates that SDX can meet these requirements. The participation of leading financial institutions and the issuance of 6 digital bonds to date, totaling more than 750 million francs, settled in wholesale CBDCs, highlights market confidence in our digital 6 infrastructures. News continued by saying, SDX continues to advance digital financial markets. with the continued Hevilto pilot allowing more participants to adapt digital assets with on-chain blockchain wholesale CBDC settlements. You see, banks are not going to be doing, essentially settlements, huge amounts of settlements back to back with each other using cryptocurrencies. They're going to be using CBDCs. And as I've previously stated, it's quite obvious in terms of, CBDCs, because there are 24,000 crypto projects. There are roughly 24,000 crypto projects. And I've said this previously in terms of the categories inside the crypto space, and 24,000 plus crypto projects. We have so much projects in the AI department. There's competition there, gaming competition, Web3 gaming, metaverse, and data and so on. There's so much competition in terms of all categories inside the crypto space from 24,000 crypto projects. But only one has a CBDC platform. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Ripple is the only one with a CBDC platform. I mean, XRP is the only project. 24,000 plus crypto projects, all of them spread out into AI, gaming, data, Web3, and so on. But one has a CBDC platform. Also, that one has been implemented in a particular country for their CBDC to be used. Also, that one is on a PDF document titled Cross-Border Payments on the Bank of International Settlements with 11 other companies, one of them being Swift, and that one also being Ripple. A lot of people say, well, they're never going to use Ripple. They're never going to use XRP. It's Ripple. It's not XRP. It really is. Ripple is XRP and XRP is Ripple. And also according to Ripple, because people are so thick these days, Ripple did a Q&A on their own website, question answer essentially, and stated that how they're exactly going to be using XRP, even through Ripple payments, because people argue it's Ripple payments, it's not XRP. Well, on their own website, they stated how they're going to be utilizing XRP through Ripple payments. Now, I mean, this is what I was trying to mention. There's quite a bit to go still in terms of the actual step-by-step of what's going to happen in terms of the Bank of International Settlements and the Swiss National Banks and the Bank of the Worlds. But all banks around the world, and what was mentioned here by so many CEOs and executives, right now they're laying in the foundation. 2024 is essentially when they're laying in the foundation. They're cementing the foundation of the finance of the future right now. And all banks around the world, even according to Switzerland, are going to start using wholesale CBDCs for doing, even in terms of tokenization. Even in terms of tokenization, which is one of the biggest categories in terms of a new avenue stream for finance. For all these big corporations and banks, tokenization this, tokenization that, they're always talking about it. That one category of new avenue stream, and in the finance category as well, falls on the CBDCs also. They're looking at tokenized CBDCs for a good amount of years now, and they're laying in the foundation for tokenized CBDCs and wholesale CBDC transactions. 90% of banks are on CBDCs, according to the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund. And again, there's one project doing CBDCs and actually has a CBDC platform. All these banks, they're not going to do back and forward transactions in huge amounts, 24/7 basis on Ethereum or Solana or Cardano or whatever. I'm not saying those products aren't good. They're good in their own aspects, but there's one project doing CBDCs, and the banks are all on CBDCs, and the banks are doing wholesale CBDCs, and the banks are doing tokenized CBDCs, and that one project is on the Bank of International Settlements. It doesn't take a genius to figure this one out. There's one project doing CBDCs and has a CBDC platform, and is on the Bank of International Settlements website. It's not rocket science, just basic common sense at this point. Now, the S&P said during its press conference that its wholesale CBDC related activities does not constitute a commitment to introduce essentially for that basis. The S&P's promising notes experimentation. The S&P and the World Bank are also collaborating to develop a prototype platform for tokenizations of financial instruments known as promissory notes. The experimentations, which essentially was announced back in January and is expected to run for at least 12 months, is being spearheaded by the Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub. The Bank of International Settlements is spearheading the process of the releasements of what they're building in terms of all these CBDC projects. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, is participating as an observer alongside the Bank of International Settlements. The context of the initiative, known as Project Promiser, which essentially was presented by the Bank of International Settlements Hub as having the potential to help G20 ambitions to deliver better, bigger, and more effective multicultural developments, banks by substantially increasing their financing capacities. Today, many international financial institutions, including multilateral development banks like MDBs, are partially funded by financial instruments known as promissory notes, most of which are still paper-based. The Bank of International Settlements Innovation Hub webpage for the project explains that while the current system provides the operational controls for member nations to make subscriptions and contributions, payments to institutions like the World Bank, the custody of outstanding promissory notes can be digitized to address operational challenges and enhance the efficiencies of the webpage states. So, according to the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, and the Swiss National Bank, and a list of massive banks based out of Switzerland and other jurisdictions, a lot of things are happening in terms of wholesale CBDCs. One is that the Bank of International Settlements is spearheading, and the International Monetary Fund is an observer of this whole process. And step number two is basically all the banks are, laying in the foundation, which I love to hear coming from the banking world. The banks right now are laying in the foundation. They're cementing the future of finance by laying in the foundation of CBDCs, wholesale CBDCs and token. Now, you might be thinking, why am I excited about CBDCs? It's not the CBDCs, well, because there's one platform doing CBDCs, and it's Ripple and it's XRP. So that part. Yes, I know CBDCs are bad, but it's going to happen either way. I might as well benefit from it. You could too also, but obviously not financial advice in any sort of a way at all. But because it's going to happen either way. So I can benefit from that purpose. Now, with the banks, essentially coming out and saying they're cementing essentially this year, and all their testings have come to a stage where they're moving away from testing and going into production. That's not a key factor to take away from this. The banks have finished essentially the majority of their testings coming out of Switzerland, and they're going into production, moving away from testing. The Bank of International Settlements suggesting that they're spearheading all of this process for G20 countries especially, the International Monetary Fund being the observer, and the banks themselves, the executives essentially from SIX, also stating that they're cementing the future, they're laying in the groundworks for the future of finance. Big things are on the way. Big things. And it goes back to what I said as well, which was, ironically, I said 2023, in 2023, I said 2023 is the end of the road. So 2023 is the end of the road. And 2024 is when the world starts shifting into a digital era. Pretty much everything I said came back to back. Now, we have also come to the endings of tonight's live show as well. All good things must come to an end at one point. So we've come to the endings of tonight's live show as well. But that news, particularly coming out of Switzerland, coming from the Bank of International Settlements and the International Monetary Fund, is incredibly bullish of the stage they're at now. And what the words that were mentioned in terms of laying in the foundation, Bank of International Settlements, spearheading, moving away from testing into production, all these amazing things to hear. So, on tonight's live show, we went through the Swiss national banks and their step-by-step of process of how far they've gotten. We also went through USDT and the particular exchanges that's going to be essentially not using them eventually, which is Binance, Kraken, Uphold, pretty much all types of exchanges are going to stop using essentially USDT in the MiCA regulations. We also talked about AI in terms of the banking sector, a report that came out from Citibank that a $2 trillion market space is going to be created and a lot of people are going to be fired, according to the Citibank reports. We also talked about the stablecoin USDT again, but we talked about it from the Latin American perspective, where USDT is the #1 currency used in Latin America. Number 2 is XRP. Number 3 is Bitcoin in terms of volume. And that was done by Kiko, essentially the chain analysis firm of data. We also talked about BitterPro launching a bank in Taiwan for Taiwanese clients, also getting a backing from USDT in terms of funds. We talked about scammers targeting the TON network, essentially creating fake USDT. So fake USDT stablecoins are also being produced. We also talked about regarding the fight isn't over regarding the matter of Ethereum 2.0. In terms of Ethereum 2.0 being looked into, maybe as a possibility of happening later on as well. We talked about essentially Croatia launching a crypto platform on a global base, not a global base, but for the EU market space, which is quite big in that aspect. We also talked about Binance and the hack situation that went on today as well. Now, before we go, let's go inside the comment section. It's quite a big question in the comment section as well. Let's go inside the comment section first. CC captions would also be helpful. Shelly, thank you so much for that. Yep. Sorry about that. I missed your answer regarding KuCoin USDT. No, KuCoin, no news so far from my end. I've been in this situation a couple of times trying to listen to public without AirPods. One of my projects I get paid is in USDT pair. Does that mean that the project will have to change the pair miles? What will happen in this case? I can't change it. It has to be USDT. What should I do? Shelly, you're okay for now because you're in Australia, so you're okay. I mean, I'm okay, so I'm in the UK. So, but in terms of that, it's just for the EU right now. When we get to that stage where USDT is being faded out in even in G20 countries, then when we cross that bridge, I'll tell you what to do. For the time being, you're okay. You won't be affected by the EU markets for the time being at all. Thompson, how you doing? Every transaction with XRP, it has to burn a rate, which makes it more scarce and increases its price, which is true. Good night, Miles and CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual. Great live, Miles. Thank you, and good night to all the CMF too. JP, see you tomorrow about the same time as usual as well. Good night, brother Miles. Funky brother, see you tomorrow same as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow same as usual as well. Miles, ask the CMF what BTC stands for. Please, this might shed some light on BTC. Do you know what the answer is, Miles? I'm sure you do. I will answer afterwards. Yes, I do. Sure. Yes, the banks. The banks know that they are losing ground. However, would you consider the idea that there might be a crash by the banks just to shake people out and buy their own cryptos for cheap? An outcome, not the outcome, but a possible outcome. Coin, good night, Miles and CMF. This is nights, but I'm guessing this is Miles. Good night, Miles and CMF. Coin, see you tomorrow sometimes as usual as well. Thompson, see you tomorrow sometimes as usual as well. Good night, Miles and family. Great live. Thanks, a good one. Ian, see you tomorrow sometimes as usual as well. This project is based in the UAE, so keep me updated. No problem, Shelly. We have come to the endings of tonight's live show. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. I'm going to be doing the outro of the live show, which is... Before I do the outro, we also have a Telegram group as well, which is completely free. If you want, you can join it as well. The link is in my profile. If you watch us on YouTube, if you watch us on X, it's on my profile on X, on the links. And everyone is an absolutely amazing person. They're also in the comment section. And everything I do is completely free of source because education is completely free. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Thanks, Miles. Night, day all. Shelly, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. And Shelly, thank you so much for typing that out. What I said to type out for these. Great job, Miles. Again tonight. Let's go, Scott. Coin, yep, Miles. Beta testing coin, yeah, for BTC, yes. Good night, brother. Camel, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Scott, see you tomorrow. Shelly, see you tomorrow. And Shelly, once again, thank you so much for typing that out. When I asked, thank you so much for that. The job you do for our family group is appreciated. Scott, thanks so much for the kind words. I'm so surprised that there is less XLM than XRP, therefore would be worth more than XRP in the long term. Depends on the basis. Depends on who's being used the most. But XLM is still a great project. Good night, Miles and CMF. Free and forever. See you tomorrow. Sometimes as usual. Thompson, see you tomorrow. Sometimes as usual. XLM is king. That's what Thompson's saying. Good night, Miles and all CMF. Imon, see you tomorrow. Sometimes as usual as well. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. The next XRP and XTC. Good night, everyone. But XRP, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.